Ah, this looks good now. I think we got it. Are we live? We are live. We've been live for 24, 27 seconds. My goodness. Hi, everybody. Can you see me? I hope you can see me. I'm looking at the side here and I'm seeing already that, wow, we have a great attendance of people from all over as usual. My goodness. Washington, D.C., Colorado, Vegas, yay, Minnesota. Do you know that I went to Minnesota for the first time in my life in 1989, my first time in the United States? And I loved Minnesota. I was in St. Paul. Um, State of Washington, yay, oh my goodness, Rick from Charleston, South Carolina, St. Louis, San Diego, and the Netherlands, Marcel, this is great. Outside of Philadelphia, Hilda, I wonder where. I used to live right outside of it in Chester County. So I wonder where you are. Oh my gosh, so many people. Hi. Hi, Chris from Canada. My gosh, California. Look at that. Slovenia, Germany. This is great. Oregon. Hi, Kathleen from Oregon. This is great. Hi from New Jersey, Nikolai. I guess we're neighbors because I'm broadcasting this from New Jersey. Chester County. Oh my gosh, Hilda, you have to tell me where in Chester County, maybe privately. I don't know, but okay. So we are live, and as you know, we are in the middle of this class now called Wrinkles, drawing wrinkles. And it's all about conveying wrinkles, not so much in lines, but more in terms of light. And today I'm going to introduce you to the photo that I've chosen for this. It's ideal because, of course, the contrast is beautiful, and we're going to do this together. So I'm inviting any one of you, if you'd like, to join and grab a piece of paper as well and draw with us, like at the same time. So I'm going to show you what photo we're using here. I have it on a little tablet that I use. It's a little Android tablet that I use mainly for Google Drive. I save all my photos there. And this is the one I've chosen today. Um, this is really great picture. And you've noticed why I like it so much. It's because, yes, there are wrinkles. You see here. Okay. And we also have all the nice wrinkles on the forehead, deeper wrinkles right there and right here. And that's what we're going to try to do in about 1 hour. I can't guarantee you that I'm going to be able to finish everything, but I really want to go over uh, the main features, which are the wrinkles themselves. Okay. So, everybody, are you ready? We're going to try to tackle this in pencil. And by the way, I want to point out that while we're doing a class on wrinkles right now, this is July, we're also going to have a new class coming out in August, focusing on another area of the face. And that one is going to be mostly eyes and also glasses. So, this is actually a really good thing that we're doing this because I am also going to have to deal with glasses, which will be the focus of the next class with eyes. And if you want to join any class at any moment today, you can get $5 off by typing in Van Stone as the code. VANSTONE. That's my last name, all in one word. And that gives you $5 off any class that I teach. So there it is. All right, so here I am with my pencil. Now, look at what I've got. I've chosen a pencil that is going to allow me to start very lightly. When I say pencil, this is actually a mechanical pencil. Those of you who've been taking my classes, you're familiar with this. This is an orange one. That way I know which one is which, because this one always carries a lead that is very light. It's an H lead, which allows for some very light strokes because it's a pretty hard lead. H is fairly hard. After this, I'm going to switch gears and go with, I've got my little pencil case here with all my pencils that I carry everywhere in my purse every day. After this, I'm going to switch gears and use one of my daughter's mechanical pencils, the ones that I buy for her at school, which will be just number 2, which is HB. But the thickness of these two guys is exactly the same. If you look closely, they both say 09 millimeters. It's a little thicker than what we usually get. We usually get 05, 07. This is 09. I like that better. So here we go. Well, you know what? It's fine that you're late, Albert. Sorry, I'm late watching Le Tour. Okay. The Tour de France, by the way, stopped by my hometown in France not too long ago. While I was in Canada, they were actually biking through my hometown in eastern France. So, ready? I've got, again, my reference photo. And I'm inviting any one of you to also grab this reference photo. If you look on the side, you've got the reference photo link, I believe, which is there from Sktchy. And while I draw, feel free to ask any question by using the bottom where it says ask a question. I would be really happy to answer anything you have. I have a question in French already, which is asking, I never know, it says it in French, je ne sais jamais dans quelle direction je dois faire les hachures. So as we tackle cross-hatching, I will answer this question, which has to do with what direction in which to do the hatching when we draw. Those of you who are familiar with this, you probably already know that I like pulling those hatches towards me. So I'm going to tackle this as I draw. And merci, Ulysse, for your question. Okay, oh my goodness, we're already 7 minutes in, and look, all I've done is talk. So, and ask any questions you might have, okay? I'm not afraid of multitasking. All right, so here I am. I'm going to try to fit it in the view here. Let me see. I think I cannot go much higher than this. I'm going to try to draw myself a limit so that I don't go beyond this line and I don't go beyond, let me see where I am here. This line at the bottom here, maybe? How about that? Okay, that gives me an idea of how far I can go, okay? If you don't have questions, that's okay too, because, you know, I always find things to talk about when I draw, so it's quite okay. All right, so as you know, when we have a face to deal with, I like starting with where things are so that I don't lose track of my proportions. Let's see if I can do this right now. I'm going to try not to draw too big today, because if I draw big, I'm going to have a problem. All right. The line that I'm putting across the paper here, which is super light, is usually the line that I use for the eyes. That gives me an idea of where to start. I'm going to have a nose right here. I'm going really super lightly. This is probably a little unfair to you here on the other side, because you can probably not see very well what I'm doing. But that's because, again, I'm using my H lead, which is really, really weak. And I'm doing that on purpose because I just want to set kind of a foundation here today. Okay. Eyebrows. A nose. The eyes I have not drawn yet. They're just a line across. Probably noticed. Let me try to flip this a little this way. Okay. Can you see? All right. Okay. And then there's going to be a mouth right about here. It's funny when you draw and you have a phone right in front of where you're supposed to look. This is my phone that's filming this, and it's adding a little bit of a challenge. So look, very broad strokes here. I'm just laying the foundation so that I don't lose track of my proportions. I don't always do that, by the way. A lot of you asked me if I always draw like construction lines. I don't always. In fact, I rarely do because of the time constraints. Um, so what I do is I tackle everything directly in pencil, like the actual pencil that I use. Okay, I'm kind of drawing where the lens is gonna go here. Oh, glasses, guys. How many times have you avoided drawing a portrait because the person was wearing glasses? Um, I don't know, but I can tell you that I have more times than I can admit. And that's because glasses are pretty daunting. But that's one of the things we are going to learn to overcome with the next class that I'm doing, which will have to do with drawing eyes and drawing glasses. And you'll see that they are really nothing to worry about. And that's what I'm dealing with right now. I'm dealing with a pair of glasses. Um, Again, laying very, very simple foundation here. There are things that are going to probably be erased later. By the way, this is the eraser that I use. It's something that I got from Muji, the store. It's a Japanese store. So I'm going to put that aside just in case. I'm seeing that maybe some of you are having some difficulties with technology. I hope this is going to get solved. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right, I'm still building here, still laying some foundation. The eyes, very kind eyes. I have not even mentioned wrinkles yet. Okay, this could work. Hair. The focus here is not going to be hair, so I'm not going to worry so much about that. Um, Hi, Deb. Um, Yay! I'm glad that you are going to get my book and it's going to be signed. Oh my goodness, that's exciting. Okay, let's see if I'm not losing track of proportions here too badly. No, I think I'm okay. The eyes, they're not right now, so I'm going to have to move things around a little bit. In fact, there goes the eraser because I think I put this eye a little too far this way. I'm going to have to bring it back this way. I think it's going to work better. Okay. All right. Okay. This is rough, but at this point now, I am going to grab the other pencil and actually build on this rough foundation that I have, and hope that it's going to work okay. So, a place that I like starting a lot, and you guys will agree that it's always a good idea to start where it's darkest because that's safer. So I like finding a dark spot, like let's say here in the middle of the face. And oh my gosh, was I off with this thing? What was I thinking? Maybe I wasn't thinking. That's what. So let's see. If I put the lens here, I think, yeah, I think this is more like it. We're gonna have to do quite a bit of erasing here. Look at that. Using this. Okay. We have some dark here too. So, I've said this a lot in my classes. Always go where the dark is because this is where you can really add safely at first, and it'll give you a good starting point. All right, there is going to be a really nice wrinkle here, so I'm going to suggest it tiny little bit. You see, like a tiny bit here. but I don't want to touch it too much because you know that when you make it too dark, it becomes unrealistic. So I don't know how much you can hear my air conditioning, those of you who have joined, but it's going on full blast because it's, I believe, already 90 degrees in New Jersey, and it's noon. It's going to be a hot day. It's going to be a putting on our swimming suits and going to a friend's house pool kind of day, you know? All right, so look. This is going to have to come off because I went a little too far. When I look at the photo now, I'm realizing that I went happily west with my strokes when I really shouldn't have. Right. I'm seeing that some of you are losing sound and image, but hopefully Sktchy can fix this for us. Oof. All right. Going where the dark is. And soon, we're going to get to these features where all the wrinkles are. As you know, my favorite way to shade something is hatching, but also, especially when we are in an eyebrow like this, a little bit of like squiggly, like kind of something that doesn't seem to go in any particular direction, but that works. You can do that too. Okay, these glasses have like a, bar in the middle. Okay, let me see if I'm doing this right. Okay, let me bring this a little closer here. Yeah, I think that's going to be better this way. Okay. Trying to navigate the fact that, again, I have the phone in front of me. I hope you guys can still see what I'm doing. All right. So I am not even yet delving into wrinkles. Ooh, Shelly, how do I get the photo you are using? I can no longer see it. So if you go to the chat on the side, let me see, I believe Sktchy put, the reference photo. Look, if you want, I can cut and paste it for you. One more time. I'm going to put it there, okay? The reference photo is this. Tell me if... Oh, great. Sktchy put it up. Okay, so we both did it at the same time. Deb, I think that would be a great idea for you to sit in the in the store while your husband is getting his glasses or his eyes checked, right? You can draw glasses. That's a great idea. Okay, so let me continue here. There's no rim at the bottom of these glasses, so I'm just going to suggest a shape and not really go too much into detail. Okay. All right. I realized that I really push things in weird ways on this drawing, even with my construction lines. It's weird. Okay. Is everybody doing okay? Can you see me? Okay. And again, don't hesitate to ask me even the silliest of questions. They are welcome by me. Just stay in that little ask a question segment there, and then ask me anything. About tools, about anything I use. Now, you've probably noticed that I'm going really lightly with this HB pencil, which is a number 2, as you know. I'm going very lightly because one of the problems with wrinkles on the forehead, thank you, Anne. um, on the forehead, if I go too dark, it's going to look wrong. I mean, wrinkles are tricky. And if you go too dark on the wrinkles, it's going to look not even like a caricature. It's going to look wrong. And one of the things I learned from drawing so many portraits is that you really have to have a very light hand. Don't be heavy-handed with the wrinkles. So I'm suggesting them a little bit here, but I don't think I'll go much darker than here compared to the darkness that we have in the eyebrow here, okay? All right, so always identifying where is it dark, where is it light, not losing track of that. I might be a little slower today than usual. I don't know if you've noticed, but I seem to be going into details at a slower pace. Can't really tell you why, but that seems to be the pattern. Okay. There we go. Now here's the eye. I'm really working from west to east. I know you start on the left side, but do you ever slide a sheet of paper under your palm or wear a partial glove to avoid smearing? Yes, Deb. In fact, I always keep a piece of paper at hand because if I want to go back to this side of the drawing after I've drawn most of this, I will use this underneath and draw on it. You have to, yeah. Yeah, the glove, I don't do that because I don't really like the feeling of drawing with a glove. That never was my thing. But a piece of paper is just enough. And that piece of paper, make sure that it's as smooth as possible. This is just a photocopy, by the way, something from my computer. Yeah, from my printer, actually. So, yeah, that's definitely what I do, Deb. But right now, I am definitely building from left to right because I'm right-handed, as you know. I'm sure that if I were left-handed, and I know we have some southpaws here, right? I would probably do the opposite. Okay. Oh my gosh, what a great photo to work from. It's got all the things I love about a photo. It's got the contrast. The face is such a kind face. I hate to say it, but it does play a role in how much I want to draw something, you know. And Susie is asking, will this rerun again? I think so. I think this is kept and probably put on YouTube, but Sktchy probably will be able to confirm this. Or it is saved on Crowdcast and you can come back to it later, I believe, because I know I can. So I think everybody can. Yes, you can rewatch it here later. Okay. Do you use similar approaches when drawing wrinkles in flesh and in cloth? Yes, I kind of do, because the idea is that they are creases, right? And one of the things that I teach in this lesson is that what we're interested in is conveying creases, not so much lines. So yes, I would say that wrinkles in cloth and wrinkles on skin have that much in common. Okay, I'm in the eye here, and one thing that you already know, I'm sure, is that the white of the eye is usually not white. It's usually pretty dark, and that's the case here too. So I'm paying attention to that and making sure that I'm not leaving it white. It would look cartoony and weird. Okay, now I'm going to do something with the, you see how new my eraser is? Okay. It's got a nice sharp edge, and that nice sharp edge is going to allow me to do a little mark here in the glasses. There we go. Because that's usually what happens with glasses, is there's a little bit of white between the rim and the actual lens in every one of them. And that is one of the things that we're going to cover in my next class. Well, you're welcome, Chris. I hope I answered your question. Okay. Ooh, Patricia, being left-handed, I have only just worked out to work back to front in my spiral-bound sketchbook. Yep, I believe that. Back to front, yes, of course, you have to. This world is not built for lefties, right? Okay, now wrinkles. Are you ready? Hi everybody who's joining. It's like more and more people. This is great. Okay. Um, all right. And I really would like you to direct your question to the question, ask a question part here, so I can actually see them in real time and I can answer them. Okay. As you know, wrinkles are discrete, but sometimes they're darker. So here under the eye, they are not that discreet, but we are going to blend them with the skin. Okay, so we really don't have much light under that eye. We have actually quite a bit of darkness. Here are some of the eyelashes underneath the eye. It's one of my favorite things to do, to draw eyes. And eyes with wrinkles underneath. That's fascinating to draw. Such a pleasure to do that. I'm going very lightly and slowly building this wrinkle under the eye, which I'm careful not to make a caricature out of. That would be unfortunate. Okay, let me see if I can use this edge again and just quickly do this. All right, good. Okay. Oh, you look at that, I forgot that bridge of the glasses here. There we go. Okay. I really should move a little faster. You would think that I do, but I'm slow. And I'm one of these people who likes finishing things in one sitting, because if I don't, I cannot guarantee you that the same reference photo is going to inspire me as much the next day. Funny enough. So I like finishing things in one sitting. Oh, there's Natalia's question. Okay, so this type of drawing takes a lot of time. How do you do if you don't have all the time? Do you start one day and finish another day? Rarely. Very rarely. I will try to do as much as I can in one sitting, and sometimes just call it that and not finish necessarily. Because to me, it is not so much about finishing as it is about having practiced something which has taught me something, and that can happen without finishing a drawing, really. Um, so I tend to drop things once the moment is over. It's as if it's as if the moment itself justified the drawing, and then past that is just sort of expired. Weird, huh? But that's really how it works for me. All right. Okay. Would you say it's more layering or pressure for the tonal changes? Well, I think it's a little bit of both, but when it's pencil, and I think it's more pressure than layering. I mean, you're going to see me come back sometimes and layer on top, even with pencil. But the thing that makes it look okay for me right off the bat is starting light and then, adding pressure. So it's more a matter of pressure with pencil. With pen, however, that's a whole other approach. Although there is some pressure involved, um, but in pen, you will definitely be layering more than anything else. So, yeah, pencil, pressure. Okay, I need to move a little faster, right? I'm already halfway through my time, and I'm certainly not halfway through this drawing, you've probably noticed, right? And I need to kind of show you how I'm going to do the wrinkle at the bottom here. Otherwise, you're not going to be happy with me that I didn't do enough wrinkles today. Okay, so here we go. There's the edge of the nose. And again, I don't know what I was thinking, but I really did a lot of marks that I don't know where they came from. Okay. All right. Okay. Can you describe what makes a drawing look like a caricature? Is it just being very defined on the darks and lights, overly defined? Um, I think that things get a little cartoony and a little caricature-like when lines are thick, where really, frankly, in reality, they're not at all. Um, when, for instance, you put the same amount of thickness on some lines um, that are not supposed to be as thick as each other. My gosh, am I saying this right? Okay. So, yeah, that to me looks cartoony and caricature-like. I hope that answered your question, Kathleen. Overly defined is a good way to put it, I think. Yes. Okay. We've got quite a bit of darkness here. Here, did you notice how big this line is? I do this because I know that as I go south here a little bit, I am definitely encountering more darkness than I did here. So I am going to go ahead and shade this with my pencil the way that I think is right. And now as I encounter this deep crease in the skin, I'm going to blend it. There you go, with what I've just shaded. You see what I'm doing? And I'm sure there are better technical terms for what I'm doing. But as you know, I never learned formally, so I go with mostly how I call things. Okay. Quite a bit of dark here too. Okay. And here, I want to draw your attention to the fact that I tend to shade in the direction of the shape of the face. So the face is sort of like this. There's a curve. I tend to want to stress that curve with this. Okay. Now, um, if you want to follow any one of these classes that I've been teaching on Sktchy, and you want to sign up anytime today for any one of these classes, whether it's the one on Wrinkles or any other one, you're going to get $5 off if you enter the code Vanstone, which is my last name, VANSTONE. So that's a good deal. Don't hesitate. I also do, as you know, a cross-hatching class. And we touch on a lot of things there with cross-hatching. Okay, so we've got almost one half done. Okay, if you were publishing your amazing book today, is there anything you would change, update, and add? Oh gosh. In a way, yes. And especially when it comes to technology. I don't think I would change necessarily what I was trying to teach regarding the approach to drawing, and how challenging it is to draw when you just become a mom and things like this. These things I still carry with me every day. But what I would change about my book today would be obviously an update on the digital tools, the fact that now we are using iPad Pros. The iPad Pro was not out yet when my book got published. The Apple Pencil was not out yet. So these things move so fast that I would really love to add to and change the chapter on digital drawing. Yeah, that would be, I would say, necessary. But the apps themselves have not changed. I still use paper. I still use Procreate. Okay, guys, do you see what I'm doing here? I'm filling in the darkness underneath the nose. Do you first try to capture the more major wrinkles and then go back and add more minor wrinkles later? I think that would be a good approach. Yeah. Because it's safe to start with the dark ones, but sometimes you can't avoid the fact that there are little ones along the way and you have to address them. So it's a little bit of a mix of both for me. But I have to say that taking care of those thick um, and deep ones allows you to feel maybe a little more confident with the rest of them, I guess. Yeah. So yeah. The thing is, though, those darker and deeper creases are usually the ones here. And those are usually, in the bottom half of the face. And I tend to start drawing faces from the top a little bit more, like from the eyes, as you've seen here. And my tablet is falling asleep, which is always good. I need to reawaken it. So again, let's take a look at my original photo, right? I am now working on this area here, and I would like to really be able to do this so that you can see how I'm going to tackle these wrinkles, and also the ones at the top here a little bit. I'm going to move down a tiny little bit so that you can see how that's going to work, but we're not quite there yet. Let me move this better. Okay. All right. I'm using, by the way, a slanted, kind of like a desktop slanted thing for laptops mainly. I think I got it at IKEA. And that allows me to have a little bit of a slant when I draw. And that's really crucial, because unless you do, you are going to end up distorting things. And we really don't want that. Okay. So here's a big crease here again, right? And it's not super dark, but since it's in the dark area of the face, it's going to have to stand out against, the dark. So I'm not going to hesitate to add darkness where I see it. How often do you consult your reference photo while drawing? A lot. You know that one of the best ways to practice drawing is to draw without looking at your drawing for a while, and just not get your eyes off of the reference, either person or photo. This is a great exercise because it forces you to keep seeing things as they are, as opposed to making up things with your brain. So I recommend to keep your eyes on the reference photo as much as you can as you draw, and sort of like let your hand um, do the job, and trust it, really. Trust that your hand is going to translate what your eyes are looking at. But that is one good way of not letting the brain interfere with what you actually see. Not let the brain decide what it is that you see. So you have to keep your eyes on that reference photo as much as possible. Now, when it comes to shading and stuff, that is, something that you have to be careful about, because you want to be able to see what you're doing. But at this building stage of a portrait, it's always a good thing to keep your eyes on the reference photo as much as possible. Blind contour drawing is a perfect example of that. Okay, so let's see if I can do this right. Da, 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 da. It's a fairly big crease here too. This is a little squiggly. What did I do? Okay. Right, keeping an eye on the shape of this glass here, this lens. Close. All right. Before I even tackle this eye, I want to show you the wrinkles that I'm going to do on the forehead. Okay, Natalia, do you have the same approach when you are drawing live with a real person in front of you? Not at all. If I were to draw this person with them, sitting in front of me, first of all, I would feel so guilty about making them sit in front of me that I would try my best to be as quick as possible. This has been the case for me in the past when drawing someone who is sitting in front of me. I've always tried to speed things up, so I don't have the luxury, in my opinion, of lingering on certain things. Okay, so now I'm introducing wrinkles here on the forehead, but again, as discreetly as I can, so that they don't become, monstrous. So I'm suggesting things very, very softly. Yes, Susan, you were wondering if I can show you the slant board that I'm working on. I will do this. I will do this towards the end. How about that? Okay, when I put things away, I'm going to make a point of showing you that little plastic board that I'm using. And by the way, talking of which, Susan, I'm also going to show you the clipboard that I'm using, because that slant board is great, but it's got a pattern on it, and that's the last thing I want to have um, underneath a piece of paper, because it's got some relief. So I put a clipboard actually between that slanted board and my paper. Oh, it's a whole thing. So look at how I'm doing this. The wrinkle is here. I'm putting I'm leaving light underneath so that crease shows. And there's another one here. And again, going extremely lightly, guys. Oh my gosh, I'm barely touching the paper, because if you don't do that, it's going to be bad. So I'm going like very, very lightly, super lightly here, and then coming back and maybe building a little bit more in a few minutes, but barely. Okay. So you see, one of the big things that I was teaching in this class is that when you draw your wrinkles, and I'm going to move this tiny bit closer, when you draw your wrinkles, you want to be extremely light on the line itself, but blend, 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 so that you've got the texture of the skin and then some light, because the light most likely hits from the top, and you want that to show realistically. There you go. You see what we've just done here in the forehead, staying extremely discreet, I would say, adding just a tiny bit, but blending it with the skin so that it looks realistic. And the thing that makes these wrinkles look more realistic are, the fact that I'm leaving the light that I see on the original photo right underneath each crease in the skin. This is super meditative, guys. If you do this at home and you have a little bit of time, oh my gosh, drawing these wrinkles are just such a pleasure. Oof. That's my yoga class. Drawing is my yoga. It really is. Okay. I know I'm moving slowly, but I'm moving carefully, and that's why you see me move like at 2 millimeters an hour. But that's really um, what I'm trying to convey here, is that you have to go carefully when you tackle wrinkles. There's one here continuing. It's fascinating to really look at skin and really getting lost in the details of someone's skin like that. It's amazing, huh? Okay, do I do any smudging, Patty? No, not at all. Not at all. I do not smudge. I don't think it looks good. And I'm sure there's got to be a right way to do it. And it's probably because I don't know it, but I don't think it works for me, smudging. So no, I just go light where I need to go light, or lightly, I should say, using the proper adverb. Okay. And again, not losing track of what my reference photo is telling me. Okay, there's a crease there. Think of Yoda, think of the wrinkles on Yoda. Of course, they're a little bit, a little bit of a caricature, but that's really what we're trying to convey here. You see what I'm doing? In a more discreet way, not cartoony, but keeping in mind that they're here. They're here, but they're discreet. Okay. You see what I did here on the forehead? Right? Okay. Ulysse was asking me how I crosshatch. I always pull towards me, never away from me. Come and darken here a tiny little bit more. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I moved extremely carefully with this drawing. Extremely carefully, maybe more than usual. Yep, that's how it is sometimes. Okay, looks like a combination of hatching and blurred drawing. Yeah, that's pretty much what you can say. Um, and it's not like I have a very good recipe as to what I use when, but it's whatever I would say the portrait dictates, and whatever I think at that very moment is going to work better. So yeah, there's quite a bit of squiggly and blurry thing going on. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I have not even tackled the second eye, but I'm going to try to do this now so that, there's some realism going on this face. Otherwise, you're going to think, oh my gosh, if we can't do both eyes, then what's going on? So here's the second one. Let me see if I'm doing it right. No, too far. Too far. I'm not doing it right. Okay, let me see. I need to push this guy over here. Yeah. Maybe bring it more here. There we go. And there's dark in there, so I need to convey that. Quite a bit of dark in that eye. There we go. Look at that. Okay, now it looks a little more human. Do you prefer hatching on paper or on iPad? Marcel, it's both, really both. I don't think I have a preference for either. I really love the feel of the iPad is so amazing and so real that there's absolutely no difference to me. Um, it's just that the iPad is far more convenient in darker conditions, so I will most likely lean towards the iPad. Um, but for me, there is absolutely no difference. So paper or iPad for me, they're both extremely enjoyable to use. I do use a screen protector on the iPad, which does mimic the feel of paper a little bit, even though it's not meant to do that. It's just an anti glare thing. It's called Super Shields. And these things will really allow for a paper like experience. And frankly, there is sometimes no reason to pick up a piece of paper because the iPad has become such a powerful, beautiful tool for artists. So hatching on an iPad is just as enjoyable as it is on paper. It's amazing, right? But it's true. It's true. A lot of people still very much look down on digital for drawing and don't consider it real art. I disagree profoundly with that. I really think drawing digitally and drawing on paper has become such a similar experience that yeah, it's the same for me. Right. All right. I had also a question about your first pencil was number 2 HB. It's actually Hilda the opposite. So my first pencil, the one that I used to do the construction, was definitely an '09. But in this particular mechanical pencil, I have a lead which is not HB. This is an H. Let me see if you can see it well. This is an H. And the one I'm holding now is the one that came with the pencil in the bag, which is a number 2, which is an HB. So I am now drawing in HB. I did the construction lines in H. So first pencil H, second pencil HB, or number 2, because number 2 is another word for HB. Okay. If your best friend asks you to draw them from a photo they provide, do you ever compromise on the wrinkles or realism? No, 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 no. On the contrary, I absolutely love being realistic in my drawings. And I think people really appreciate that. Now, I don't want to make them look older just for the sake of art. That's not what I'm saying. I try to just be as faithful as possible to the original photo. That's really it. So yeah, I try not to flatter anybody. I don't think that's right. And people who ask me to draw their portraits know anyway that it's not really my brand to do kind of like a a Photoshop version of themselves. It's just no. So no, I don't think I am kind in that respect, or dishonest, I should say. Not kind, but dishonest. I really draw what I see, which is, sometimes it's wrinkly, and that's fine. I think, yeah, I think it's more fun that way. I like a realistic drawing personally. I'm really drawn to that. Drawn, yeah. Do you get the pun, guys? Okay. Do you ever measure to maintain proportions? Pat, never. I never do that. I have a rough idea, and this is how my brain works. A rough idea, for example, okay, here we go. For example, the edge of the nose here seem to correspond to like the middle of the eye here. So I've got like this imaginary line going this way. It also corresponds to the end of the mouth. And maybe if I do this, you'll see better. Boom. There's this end here, which corresponds to about here. So that's how I work. I really don't have any measurements other than that. And it usually works out because, again, when you do little construction lines at first, you're kind of safe. But you've noticed, though, you were here when I started. The beginning of my drawing was a little messed up. I don't know what I was thinking. Didn't have quite the right proportions. And now I'm kind of reworking around and fixing all the things that I did wrong at first. It's funny. But that's why pencil is great, because it's pretty forgiving. You just take an eraser and you go back, and that's fine. Okay. Wrinkles here, going lightly, because now you've probably noticed, let me show you, that the marks that we have under his eye here are not as dark, for instance, as these. Okay, you see, like there's a difference of value between the two. And same thing, like this one was very dark, but any one of these will not be as dark. So it is really, drawing wrinkles is an amazing exercise in values and understanding how to apply pressure to make things look somewhat right. Okay. I'm so happy that I have 156 people here with me, and I'm reaching the end of my time. This is, gosh, sometimes I wish I had a whole afternoon to do this, because right now I need to sort of wrap things up. So Anne, have you been drawing with me? Yes, great. That's really what I want us to do more and more. I don't know how you guys feel about this. but I absolutely love the idea of you guys drawing along with me. I think that's the way to do this, because at least you're doing something while I draw, and maybe questions will pop up as you draw, maybe problems, and you want to solve these problems, you know. So yeah, I really urge you, any live drawing that we're going to do, and there will be some in the future, because as you know, I have another class coming up in August, which is going to be all about drawing eyes and glasses. So that's going to be another opportunity for us to do things together, to do a live drawing together. And I'm going to say this again, if you guys want to join any one of my classes today, whether it's this one, the one on Wrinkles, or any one that I've had here on Sktchy, you get $5 off with the code Vanstone, VANSTONE. So, okay. Uh, this is great. Thank you for being here, everybody. I'm, oh, I'm just so happy that you took the time. Margaret, I didn't know you were here. Yay. Oh, great. This is amazing. And look, this is all I did in about 50 minutes, because I started drawing about 7 minutes in, right? So 53 minutes. Um, and yes, Trudy, I'm going to answer that last question. My paper is a little bit textured. It's a Canson paper, the same one from the same sketchbook that I used in the class. It's got a little bit of tooth, and that is just the best for not just pencil, but for pen too, because it has a little bit of a grab. Now, you were asking me about this slanted thing that I'm using, right? So that I'm going to end with that. So there's my unfinished drawing. How about that? With wrinkles aplenty, but still it's not quite finished. And this is, okay, by the way, I was using a clipboard. I've got this plastic clipboard that I'm putting my paper on, because I like having a very hard surface underneath what I draw. And I want to show you quickly this slanted thing that I'm using. So it's not huge, but you see how it's got this, and then it's got a little bit of a lip at the bottom, which frankly I'm not a big fan of. But the reason why it does is because it's meant for a laptop or a tablet. But I use it to draw on, because that little bit of a slant makes a huge difference when it comes to seeing things right. So you can get that from IKEA, actually. But that texture here is not doing anything for me, so I cannot put a piece of paper on top, because otherwise you know what would happen. So I'm putting a clipboard right on top of that, and that's how I draw. That is really the best way to do it, if you ask me. So here is my unfinished drawing. If I have enough time today, frankly, I think I will. I would like to continue doing a little bit of those wrinkles. But I hope this kind of showed you my approach live, of how I deal with things. So I should thank you all for being here. And I just love doing these kinds of things, having this exchange with you guys live. Oh, so much better than anything else, in my opinion. So thank you for coming from all over the place. And yeah, if you are interested in doing eyes and glasses soon, stay tuned. Because that's what's coming up in August. And don't forget that you can get $5 off any one of my classes with the code Vanstone. Okay. Oh, there's my crazy hair. And that's it. It was really great to be here with you guys. I'm sorry that I'm not that fast. Obviously, this is all I was able to do. Look at this. It's just so unfinished, but I'll take something unfinished over finished hastily any day, because I learned something today. I learned something about, for example, my proportions at the beginning of the drawing, they were off. So I'm always learning something. So thank you again. Bye, everybody. Bisous, as we say in French. Mwah, 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 mwah. And hopefully, I'll see you at the next live drawing, which should be at some point in August. Stay cool because it's warm. It's really brutally warm here in New Jersey. Okay, ciao, everybody, and I'll see you soon, okay? Let me see if I can end this right. All right.